space of the ocean, constantly, eternally streaming past in its steady course toward infinity. It was the first time that she had crossed an ocean, and its unbounded space continued to grip her with a strange excitement, the ship feeling a small, man-made intrusion upon its surface, a microcosm daring to cross the unsteady floor of the world. She turned to look at the people around her, and instinctively her glance sought out the couples, the higgledy-piggledy mismatched people whom she had watched in wonder since the ship left New York. There was this constant procession of life aboard ship that she couldn't quite capture for herself because she was alone. Because almost everyone else had someone. They had each other, and there had been no one with whom she could become a pair. She had hoped there might be. She couldn't mourn her marriage, which had ended irrevocably a month ago, but what she longed for, she knew wistfully, was the appearance of that man she ought to have married, the man who would have been waiting for her if she hadn't eloped at 16 out of a desperate need to attach herself to life. Across the deck, leaning against the side rail, she saw a man called Stearns, puffing on his pipe and staring out to sea. Of the 6 people assigned to table 43 in the dining room, he was the only one who didn't enter into conversation or mingle with the others, and she wondered about him because he also traveled alone. He gave no evidence of need. He appeared utterly self-sustaining, calm and deliberate. Yet Melissa had begun to picture everyone whom she met as joined to others by invisible strings of dependency that kept them upright, smiling, and stable. Her own cords had been severed, leaving her no one, and out of this had come this vision of threads running from each person to unseen mothers, fathers, lovers, sisters, brothers, and friends, giving them nourishment and security, like secret umbilical cords. Surely even this man Stearns depended upon someone, she reflected. In everyone's life there had to be someone, didn't there? She glanced at her watch and noted with a sense of deep relief that it was nearing 7:30, the dinner hour. There was just time to shower and change into her most attractive new dress, and she turned and fought her way back to the door, her melancholy lifting at the thought of something concrete to do. But it was different tonight. Already change was invading the long dining table, which until now had been a mainstay for Melissa, and the high point of each day. The college students, whose wit enlivened each meal, were to disembark in the morning, and they had brought centimes and francs to the table to discuss and memorize. Melissa realized with a pang that tomorrow night they would be spending these same coins in Paris. Already they were looking forward. They were no longer immersed in the present to which Melissa had to cling for the sake of sanity. It was true that 24 hours from now she would still be seated at this same table, but she would be entirely alone, the sole survivor of 2 ports of call. And beyond that, to the possibility of leaving this ship, she dared not think. It was like trying to envision a landing on the moon, too remote, too unreal even to consider. 4 of them arose from their dessert, and with gay remarks went off to their evening, leaving only the man Stearns seated at the opposite end of the table. Melissa lit a cigarette, determined to linger over coffee no matter what inconvenience to the waiters or to Stearns. It looked a long evening ahead, and she could sense the imminence of a left-out-of-life feeling. Stearns suddenly turned his head and looked at her. He said, "I heard you say that you're going to visit Majorca." She nodded. "Yes. I go first to Copenhagen for a few days, and then Paris, and then to Majorca." "To Palma?" When she nodded again, he said, "When?" He seemed very serious. "About the 11th, I think. The 11th of July. It's the last stop before I fly home on the 15th. Are you going there too?" she asked, curiously. He crushed his cigarette into the ashtray. "I wonder if you would meet me on A deck later, say at 10 o'clock. There is something I should like to ask of you. It's rather important. Would you mind?" She looked at him in astonishment. He had scarcely spoken to her before, and perhaps because of this she had labeled him dull. Now he wanted her to meet him on A deck.